Hey, you Glock, you rock. Welcome to the Lock and Load Show, broadcasting across the interwebs, on gun channels, and across the universe. Talk about guns, freedom, and the truth until dawn. Now I got to turn off the echo. Give me a second. All right, got that sorted out. Hate when I forget to do that, but okay. So before I rant about Benchmade, I've got this industrial accident video that you have to see. And I know that Squib's always been talking about how everybody shows up stoned or drunk, and all kinds of bad things happen at his factory that he works at. So I wanted to share this industrial accident video from a pharmaceutical company in China, the Yangtze pharmaceutical industry. And let me hit the share button. Share, screen share, here it is. And there you go. Right. So I'm going to play this. There's no audio with it, so I don't need to bother really with it. It's really quick. It's quick, but it's graphic, so I mean, there's no blood that you can see. It's just bang. So I'm not sure what that machine is or why they have some kind of high pressure heating oven. It's a pharmaceutical company. I have no idea what that machine is, but I'll play it once again because it happens so fast. This is a video from an actual industrial plant. You see his blue helmet. I mean, I'll play it one last time. Just watch his blue helmet. It tumbles down after the accident. So that's what happens when you don't pay attention to safety rules. And I don't know exactly how that screwed up, but it looked painful. I'm sure he was blown to bits. You just don't see blood or anything because of the nature of the accident. But so I thought that maybe Squib said he's having, they're changing some of their safety rules at the plant as far as wearing earbuds, which while he works, so it's preventing him from doing some of the shows, or getting in early and while he's at work. But he said he'd try and come on later. I got another thing that I'd like to share with you guys. That's this story. So this is my kind of Muslim immigrant shop clerk, a grocery store owner. So the story is, there's this in Scotland, there's this popular sugary drink called Iron Brew. You can see it there, and there's her. So what happened is the government, who pays for all the health care in the UK, wanted to reduce the sugar in drinks. So they put some incredibly heavy tax on the manufacturers and people who sell sugary drinks, some ridiculously high tax. So Iron Brew didn't want to pay the tax, so they took most of the sugar out of their drink. And the new formula still has 4 tablespoons of sugar in it, but it only costs 69 pence. Okay, we're talking pounds sterling because it's UK. 69 pence per can. But this lady got her hands, before the company stopped making the sugary version, on a bunch of cases, hundreds of cases, and she's selling them for £3.99 sterling. So that's over $4 a can. And people are driving from all over the country, all over to Glasgow, to shopkeepers. I'm going to mispronounce her name, Shagufta Ahmed. She only saw the money. That's my kind of capitalist immigrant. So full sugar, old recipe, £3.99 per can. And so what was the government wants people to be more healthy, so the health insurance costs go down, so they put some ridiculous tax on a sugary drink, and people are driving from all over the country to her store just to get the old recipe. which I guess had more sugar. I go to the original story, but this is just like awesome, everybody. So this is our news from Scotland, right? I don't know what Ron Fox has not been doing. Fox Company prepping bushcraft chats, and the last time on his last stream, he just said something like it sounded like no more bushcraft chats. So I was like, that's sad, but okay. But let's go back to the original story about Iron Brew has officially gone out of production, the original one. Now they have a sugar-free, I may be pronouncing it wrong. It looks like Iron Brew to me, but Iron Brew is one of those drinks that nobody understands. You either love it or hate it, and a lot of people, especially from its native Scotland, absolutely adoring it. There are countless people out there who would call themselves addicts. It's good. This is due. It has officially gone out of production due to the impending soft drinks levy that has been introduced by the UK government to try and cut out sugar and make them healthier. You probably know Iron Brew is loaded with sugar, and so AG Bar have gone back to the drawing board to come up with a new recipe for it that will now contain roughly half the amount of sugar, dropping from 8.5 tablespoons to 4. That's obviously going to taste completely different and nowhere near as good, but Iron Brew are insisting that it still tastes great as always. And so that's what led to the shopkeeper like hoarding hundreds of cases, and now she's going to make a profit selling them. People are suitably outraged about the change, and a petition to save real Iron Brew has even been set up, approaching 50,000 signatures. So it's just, you know, whenever the government tries to do something like give free health care, and then now they have to raise taxes on sugary drinks because of, I mean, this is more like a less government, less taxes, the better. I don't know. But anyway, that's this is my kind of immigrant, this lady who runs her grocery store and got the got it hoarded. She obtained hundreds of cases, and before they went out of, they stopped making this. So that's just a great story. All right, I'll see if there's any comments in the external before I start ranting about Benchmade. I was on Midnight Range's external chat to a show last night, and I was typing furiously about the whole concept of Benchmade. Anyway, talk about cryptocurrencies. Saturday they got skyrocketed up, and Sunday they got slammed down. It looked like pure manipulation to me. It was like up. It's like Ethereum was up like 15, 16, 17% in like an hour or two, and then 3 hours later it got slammed down 20% from where it was before it went out. So it's like somebody's got their, it's market manipulation. Okay, back to let's see, I'll stop the screen share. Back to me. How's that? There's my pretty face, so as much as you can see it. Where's my angular light? I found on Amazon where I can get LEDs for this thing. The LEDs for these are they were $15 a pop on Amazon where I saw them, but I don't know, maybe they're at a someplace cheaper. The regular incandescent bulbs that come with it put out like 20 lumens, and the LEDs put out 74. So it's not a huge amount of lumens, but it's like almost 4 times as much. So I don't know if that's exponential, logarithmic, or I should consider that or whatever, but maybe I'll get some of those expensive light bulbs. Let me see if I can look at the externals. Yeah, so what happened? Yeah, well, so here's the story with Benchmade knives. What happened was the the police department, I guess in Oregon, or where is that where it was? They put out a tweet thanking Benchmade for helping them destroy some guns. And I guess they used an angular saw because the police department doesn't have their own angular saw. So the police department just brings all the guns that they are required to destroy and say, Benchmade, can you destroy these knives for us? And Benchmade says, sure. And then it kind of goes downhill from there. Because when that tweet came out, it started snowballing, and people started looking into the politicians that Benchmade was contributing money to, and they're all anti-gun. So in the state they're in, it's a blue state. So all the I mean, I live in Hawaii. I know there are no pro-gun politicians. There was one, and they kicked him out finally after like 50 years in the Senate. But there was only one Republican like in the Senate, in the legislature in Hawaii. But so this is Oregon. I digress. And so basically, Benchmade has been funding all the gun grabbing, gun control people, and as we know, if you'd be keeping up on NRA, ILA notices or watching gun channels or the GOA or the FPC, there's like new background checks, House HR 8, and which sucks. And I think Dianne Feinstein wrote something that was stupid, ban all her new assault weapons ban that she introduced in the Senate, which hopefully won't go anywhere. Is that basically says that every semi-automatic firearm is an assault weapon, so they're going to need NFA stamps, and it's like, anyway, so Benchmade has been supporting these politicians. Then when the police department put out the tweet, they were just saying thank you, not realizing that it would make Benchmade give them a really black eye, because a lot of the people that like knives like guns. And I mean, the quality of Benchmade knives, I mean, if you wanted an out the front automatic, I guess, I mean, personally, I don't, automatics are not the kind of a knife that I would pick to bet my life on. But if I had to pick an automatic, it probably would have been a Benchmade before this mess. It's just that I don't trust locking mechanisms. I don't trust switchblades, automatic not locking mechanisms. I don't trust them to bet my life on. I mean, if you stick somebody and it hits them in the rib, the whole knife could just come apart. And then there you are with this dumb look on your face, and like the blade just shot across the room and your knife just came apart. And there's a very angry person that wants to strangle you like 6 inches away from you. So that's not a good scenario. So I mean, since Benchmade thing was automatics, I mean, they make other things. I have like a 1-inch Benchmade. So, but the point is, what got me triggered, or which was this topic on Midnight Range's show, was like, what are you pissed about, today? So, all this stuff that Benchmade just became like a symbol of gun control. And so people have been on the internet, including the channels that made videos, like, I don't know, the Gun Collective, and say, well, come on, I want to talk to the people at Benchmade and see what they, this is wrong. Okay. I don't want to talk to the people at Benchmade. I'm not talking to the people at Benchmade. They can kiss my ass. This is like, I mean, on December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, nobody cared about what their motivation was, what Japan was angry about. It was war. War's on. I mean, you go down, you enlist, or you wait to be drafted. You get some training, they give you a gun, and they send you into combat. So, I mean, they fired shots. They're supporting the enemy, whether they're enemy collaborators or actively participating, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, we're fighting for our liberties and our freedom here, and specifically our Second Amendment ones. And so I just don't understand why people come on and want to hear excuses or make excuses or say it wasn't their fault or they were just being nice to the police department and they were dealing with the only politicians. I mean, fuck that shit. When the Japanese blew up the Arizona, I mean, I don't give a shit what their motivation is. You know, I don't care what they were angry about. War's on. So once the bullets start flying, I mean, I don't give a shit about Benchmade. I just want people to not buy their stuff. And if you're at the NRA show, I mean, I'm not saying to do anything wrong, but if you accidentally bump up against their table and it flips over and all their knives scatter all over the floor, you know, that would be too bad, wouldn't it? But it's just, you can't have a problem with enemy recognition. I mean, if they're supporting the gun control, gun grabbing politicians who are going to vote for House Resolution 8, like next or this week, and I think there's another one. There's another one in the House that's been introduced. I'm not sure about the details about it. It was like 1117 or something like that. I could look up through my emails and pick it up. But yeah, so I still need to watch your air fryer video, Poor Conservative. I really need to pick out the right air fryer for me because I can't do deep fried anything. So, but I did get like that potato that made in China. I have like this, I got off Sportsman's Guide that French fry potato slicer. You know, like you put the potato in this thing, you push down the lever and out come French fries. I mean, you need to fry them, but you know, the raw potatoes. That's why I was looking for when somebody said, "Oh, he did this great air fryer video." I was like, damn, I need to pick out one that will actually work well for me. So I need to check out your air fryer videos. Anyway, so yeah, the whole thing with Benchmade is like, I have like one. It's like about, I don't know. It's shorter than my finger, and Spyderco makes incredible, great knives, old man. Yeah. So it was just, it's just like, it's on with Benchmade. I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear how they were being nice, just being nice to the police. I mean, they've become like the symbol of like enemy collaborating with, you know, the gun. I mean, I don't care why you donated to Dianne Feinstein's campaign. I don't think Benchmade did. They donated to somebody else in their state. And it's just, I'm really not interested. I like to do anything I can to get people to not buy Benchmade. And most of the people on Midnight Rangers show were like, Benchmade knives cost too much. It's like, yeah, they do. There's other companies like Spyderco that makes incredibly great knives. I don't think Spyderco makes automatics or out the fronts. Those are not legal in my state anyway. But it's another great thing about another dumb law is banning like switchblades, because switchblade is just not the kind of knife I would, like I said, it's a locking mechanism. I don't trust it. And there was some stuff I'm going to talk a little bit later about the last, if you saw the last stream, it was about this book by Selco, The Dark Secrets of SHTF Survival. And last week's show, I talked about the first two parts, which was, let's see, the difference between your plans and reality. That's part one. And then the shocking reality is part two of Shit Hits the Fan. And so I'll talk a little bit about part 3 and 4, which was the truth about death and violence and after the collapse is over. Although I think mostly the first two parts were interesting to me. But as far as Benchmade goes, I just have a tiny little Benchmade knife stuck in, like, I don't know, some bag somewhere that if I ever get to the local range and can figure out some way to set it up, I'll just shoot it, put it out of its misery. I did an ammo run this week at the local gun shop. Let's see what I got. So I got some goodies. Nothing. It was just a small ammo run. Federal 45 auto, 250 grain, no, 230 grain jacketed hollow points. A small box of that. Let's see what else I got. A box of American Eagle 5.56. And a couple boxes of Zombie Max 12 gauge. I like this stuff. It's a little hotter than normal. It's only 8 pellets, but it's 1,600 feet per second. And so I guess they take out a pellet and put in more powder, but it's faster than your average 12 gauge load. And I got a box of Glacier Brass 9mm. So that was my ammo run. Nothing big. I already have so much weapon ammo. Don't need to do large ammo runs anymore. All right. Yeah, a little bit of Jack Daniels. So I don't know how you guys feel about this whole thing with Benchmade, but yeah, I was just like, why are people making excuses? It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. They've become a symbol, and they just need to be lose as much money as possible. That's the only thing you can do to a corporation is make them lose money. You don't, that's what hurts them the most. So I would just say pick a different blade, and encourage people, if they have to get an automatic, pick a different brand. Personally, like I said, automatic knives. I prefer the Emerson Wave knife, like on my Karambit, and it's got a better. Well, the new Fox Karambit, it's got a different, more robust locking system. But I'll talk about the good side and bad side of the locking mechanism. The bad side is just you have to check it before you put it in your pocket at the start of the day. Just like if you're carrying a gun with one in the round, you're gonna check your firearm before you go out your front door. So you have to do that with this knife too, because the locking, it's got a locking, it's got a little slide to where you can lock the blade in place, and you have to make sure that it's not activated. Otherwise, if you need to pull your knife out in self-defense, then it won't open. So you have to make sure that it's in the open position, and it can moving it around, taking it in and out of different holders, or it can move to the wrong position. It can move to the closed position, and it's like if you have to reach for a knife, you want it to open and deploy when you need it. All right, let's see. Yeah, so this is the book is by Selco Begovic, The Dark Secrets of SHTF Survival. The brutal truth about violence, death, mayhem, you must know to survive. It's his perceptions of basically, he was, I think, a teenager still in the Balkans War in Bosnia. And I just saw a movie about that has not, but I bought the DVD called American Renegades. It was a pretty cool movie. It had some. It's basically about some Navy SEALs, and they're in Bosnia, and they I digress from the book, but I'm a film guy, so it was a fun DVD to watch. There's about some Navy SEALs deployed in Bosnia, and after they drive a tank through Sarajevo, a Russian tank, and with like all the Serbian army chasing them. After they snatch some high-value target, then they're like kicking back in a safe somewhere in Bosnia that's secured, and like one of the waitresses tells them about some Nazi gold that was from World War II. That is like basically a big cache of like 24 tons of gold, and so they want to go get it, and so that's the story, and it's pretty cool. The first part is fun, just for, if you ever wanted to drive a tank and just blow up shit and run over things, The first part of the movie is great for that. Some of the special features were cool because they had some stuff with SEALs, how they train the actors. The actors, none of them were American. There's an Aussie, Irish guy, a British guy, and so that they had to have a dialect coach so they would sound American. But they more importantly, they needed SEAL training, so they could, as far as how to move, how to handle the weapons. I think basically from what I saw on the added features about that, the SEAL was just telling them about you have to get used to moving with your weapon in uncomfortable positions. You don't get to move like you're walking down the street and that's what was interesting is because it was part of what in the book I was reading. He was saying, it's not like if you're going to do drills with your guns, it's not like going to the range, setting up bottles and shooting bottles. You've all probably seen or heard of like stress drills where you do 100 push-ups, run a mile, and then pick up your gun and try and shoot something accurately. And he had some interesting ideas about that, but he was trying to convey what it's really like as far as in a war zone, which is where he was. Basically, he was trapped in a war zone for several years, and he survived. And so this guy's kind of big on the internet for survival because his pitch for his survival for his book and his he teaches a course, I think, but it's that if you want to learn how to survive, you need to learn from somebody. You want to learn from somebody who actually was in the shit hits the fan scenario and survived, or do you want to just watch YouTube videos by me or Canadian Prep or somebody who hasn't been had to survive in a war zone? So, I mean, I've never had to do that. My shit hit the fan scenario was medical, not like this. But so as far as his drills, he had some interesting ideas. But there's a few excerpts you guys might find interesting and helpful that I could read. So this excerpt is about when he's being attacked by some guy running at him with a knife. Okay, so I'll just read this short excerpt. So you may find yourself in a situation where the attacker is coming at you, rapidly closing. You keep firing at him. Distance is pretty close and nothing happens. He's still closing in. You shoot and shoot. You are screaming, or maybe you just think you are screaming. Something loud keeps exploding in your ears, and you are not aware whether that your gunshots or what. You are not even sure, are guns being fired at all? Maybe something is wrong with your gun. Quote, that other guy's eyes are getting closer and closer, and he has a big knife, and he is huge. Shit, what's going on? Am I going to die? God. And then he's down. So was that a guy who was hard to kill? It says, yes, later you figure out that you shot him 6 or 7 times, but not in the correct places. He was a huge adrenaline pump, made him forget the pain so he could just keep coming. And so I think that part, it's like kind of a little bit about the fog of war. There was another interesting thing he said about drills. People do jam drills. What do you do if your gun jams? And well, I have a Glock, so I don't have to worry about that, right? But if you're going through a house clearing and you're actively engaged, somebody's shooting back at you, which is, somebody's trying to kill you. That's rather disturbing. And then if your gun jams while somebody's trying to kill you, the thing that some people do is they look at their gun. That's wrong. So I would suggest, just from what I read in his book, is the drill you should do is if you have like 3 or 4 targets and you're moving from target to target and going from place to place to get a firing position to shoot at each one, is that just somebody yells jam, and then you have to duck for cover and pull out your secondary weapon, because if you just stand there and look at your rifle, you're going to get shot in less than 2 seconds. So they had a particular word in whatever language they speak in Bosnia, which I couldn't pronounce, that's in this book. And since nobody knows what it actually means, at least on this chat. But so what you don't want to do is sit there and if your gun jams, just look at your rifle and say, well, gee, what's wrong with this rifle? That's the wrong time to try to figure it out. You just want to like get out of the line of fire and pull out your secondary weapon and keep shooting. Now without stopping. So like you don't have 2 seconds to just stand there and look like an idiot. But the other one he said was like, if you want to know what shit at the fan survival drill, it would be like, go out camping with all you bring with you is for 10 days is like a garbage bag for cover and some water, like a canteen, and like 1 MRE. And camp out for 10 days, hike at least 5 miles each day to a new location. And then on the last day, like run 10, 15 miles and then try and shoot some targets. So, and there was this other really dumb drill that he was trying to just convey, which was like, let's see, gotta try and find all this stuff in here. It was about basically stay in one small room with like a gallon of water, some grains, some rotten beef, and just like a bucket to shit in, and that's about it. Stay in one room for like a week, like that. He realized that was a dumb drill, but that's what it was. He was trying to say what it was like. Let's see what else is interesting. A lot of it was how committing violent acts changed him psychologically, and the consequences of killing in a post-collapse world. Like nobody's going to want to like sit next to you, and nobody's going to care why, because most people don't know other people that have actually killed people. So he's just trying to convey, it's like, I guess, the whole outsider, or I guess some kind of feeling that he had. And I guess the last portion was how do you know when the shit hits the fan event is over? Because they kept having peace emissaries and peace negotiations, and they'd sign some agreement, and no matter what happened after like a dozen of those, there was never peace. So basically they just gave up on paying attention to all these people would come in, they sign an agreement, they make a deal, but then the people kept shooting. And so, but eventually one of the agreements stuck. But since everybody had been through that hell of being in a war zone, that nobody was the same anymore. So that's, I guess, something you can only get if you were, maybe you could get it from a combat veteran, but most veterans don't want to talk about that kind of thing. So I really don't ask people about that stuff. So you can get a little bit of that from the book. And I think another drill he suggested was sit for like 10 hours under some rubble and then pop up and hide under rubble for 10 hours and then pop up and see how accurate your shooting is. It's just a different kind of take on, he tries to basically say, whatever your plans are, that's not how it's going to be. And it's going to hit you like a hammer. and you won't be prepared. But if you know that you're going to feel that way, then you can recover quicker, and deal with whatever situation you find yourself in. I've talked about stuff like that before, but it was interesting reading his book. I liked it. For $19, it was it's like 316 pages. It's worth a read. If you're the shit hit the fan prepping. He describes some of the terrible things that happens as far as basically people that they had organized basically rape missions where they would go into a town, kill all the men, toward all the women into a prison or a house that they were using as a prison, and then basically and the aftermath of that is like terrible. After the war is over, there's all these children that were born whose mothers just, as soon as the children are born, they just leave them. They're orphans instantly because they remind them of their rapists. So you have a whole bunch of these rape babies who didn't do anything wrong, but are born into this post-collapse war, and it's just, what did they do wrong? Nothing. It just, it was just, there's a lot of things that go, when like that whole war happened in the Balkans, it was, it's just, it's something that you hope you never have to deal with. We talked about like the whole gun confiscation thing in the Balkans on the last show. It was like how they did it was, the government had a list of everybody that legally purchased a gun. And when like the war had started or was about to start, the government sent the police to collect the guns. It wasn't just the police. It basically 20 heavily armed men would show up at someone's door. For people who saw the California DOJ, that was mild compared to the Balkans and Bosnia. Basically, they show up at the door, 20 heavily armed men. They ask you for the guns that you have listed there. So, and if you argue with them or say, I don't have them, or no, I'm not going to give them to you, they just walk away and to a safe distance and fire an RPG into your house. And then they move on to the next house. And so it's, at least they haven't done that in America yet. But that's how it was in the Balkans. So I think he was saying that you have to have a gun that you would turn in when they knock on your door, and then you have your shit hits the fan gun, which is buried somewhere out in the forest. And the way gun confiscation bills seem to be popping up, that might not be a bad idea. But I'm just doing a book review when I talk about those kind of things. Just gun registration inevitably leads to gun confiscation. So that's why I was so pissed that it just, one thing piled on onto another. When they attack liberty, when they attack freedom, they're not your friend. And why would I want to buy a knife from a company like that? We have enough problems with just our regular government. Our government doesn't need any help doing stupid things. They can do stupid things all by themselves. Which reminds me, I was saying we can have the most expensive water in the history of the world, because in Kona, Hawaii, here they're passing they're putting forward like $100 million state bond issuance to pay for a solar powered desalination plant on the ocean over here. So you get water. Up on the mountain, it rains for free water. Why do we need $100 million desalination plant that's solar powered? I know it's green energy and all that, but $100 million. This is going to be the most expensive water. When we get a deluge of water, this is Hawaii. Hilo is like one of the wettest spots in the world. Think Maui. There's some spots in Maui that are even wetter, Kauai. But so it's Hawaii Islands, we get plenty of rain. Not necessarily in Kona. This is the dry side, but it rains up on the mountain, and we have aquifers, and that's how they usually. You just dig a well, sink an And if you can keep the pumps working, then you'll have water. And you don't need to spend $100 million, but this is the government. So you say solar powered something and they'll just spend money that they don't have. They're raising our general excise taxes too. And they said, well, we have to raise the general excise taxes because we don't want to raise your property taxes. The lamest excuse I ever heard. So we're going to tax you on everything, so we don't have to raise your property taxes more than we already have. Anyway, I need a shot of this Jackie coat. All right, let me read the external comments. Yeah, we have good coffee. I mean, it can get really expensive. Oh, dang. So, yeah, Squib said he'd be around later. He's like, they have earbud issues at his they're trying to do actually worker safety improvement by not letting him listen to. He's the only safe person that's sober in the plant, from what I hear. So I don't know. Whatever.
I've been here the whole time.
Oh, you've been here the whole time?
Do you even look at your screen, man?
I'm trying to look at the comments on the external.
Oh, Squibload requesting permission to come aboard.
Welcome. Did you? Okay, trivia question. Did you figure it out? Let's see if the poor conservative or anybody out there can get this. So the question is, what the trivia question, the World War II trivia question was, and I gave Squib advance notice last week. What does Admiral Yamamoto and Admiral Nimitz, what physical attribute, and I'll just say deformity, do they have in common? Did you figure it out?
You want me to answer?
Do you know the answer?
See, okay, you threw in the deformity thing, and then I'm there going.
Well, I wanted to give the people in the external or they're listening a chance.
Yeah, I think it's a good hint, but now it's I'm going to be doing more guessing than anything else. I think I know what it is.
All right, just say what you think it is.
It's a mole.
No.
On their face.
You didn't know? All right, well, since you don't know, I'll let it hang and see if anybody out there knows it. It's not a mole. So did you see the industrial accident that I played earlier?
No, I missed that part.
All right.
I've been on for 30 minutes now.
Oh, you heard my rant. Okay, well, you always rant, so I get to rant once in a while.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't going to pipe in and interrupt that. Besides that, I don't think I have anything to say about the company that you want to hear. So.
Okay, well, let's see what do you think about this industrial accident.
All right, let me pull over right up here so I can look at my phone. That way I'm not causing a highway accident.
Yeah, one accident at a time.
All right, I'm in a parking lot. What do we got?
Can you see the screen? Is this
yeah.
Can you see the screen here? This is
yeah. Are these is this a generating station or those?
This is a pharmaceutical plant in China, Yangtze, China pharmaceutical company.
If those are centrifuges or if they're mash tuns or okay.
Okay, keep your eye on the blue
helmet.
Helmet, yeah. Here we go.
Oh. Well, you don't see that every day.
No, you don't. So I
what
thought,
was in that was that explosive?
I don't know what kind of machine that is, but obviously there was some kind of pressure valve that got open.
Yeah, but maybe if it mixed with air or something got, maybe he sparked. There was a spark somehow, I mean, we don't know what he was doing, but if there was a spark and it ignited something, and that was the only way out, there was an access door. He had his hand in some sort of access door, and the only way for the explosion to escape is out that door. It's going to take the path of least resistance, and he was in the path.
Yeah, this is just looking at the screen. You might not be able to see it on your phone. It's May 3rd, 2018. I'll play
Yeah, I can see that. So. He's reaching in there. Sees that's a round opening. He's reaching in there. He's doing something, and then, I mean, those are pieces of him raining down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
my job's not that dangerous. So
this is just a pharmaceutical plant. Well, I thought that if you played this video for your people who show up drunk and stoned and don't pay attention to safety at all, then they might, say, well, I don't want that to happen to me, and maybe I'll show up sober from now on.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I tell you what, right before I left, one of the guys from my shift, he come walking right in front of me, and you could smell it, and I'm like, dude, you're clocking out in 5 minutes. You couldn't even wait to get high. I mean, look, factory work is no fun. I can tell you, the reason people are not sober on the job is to make it through. I'm sorry, but my life is way too valuable. So, not to mention, if they ever decided to drug test there or something like that, they'd fire everybody but me. And thanks for the overtime covering for people, but I don't think people think it through. They don't think about the value of their life, having all their fingers, and they don't think about keeping their job so that they don't have problems paying their bills and stuff. People don't have priorities. But that guy, I mean, it's hard to say if he was just being careless or whatnot. I'm wondering if he made some spark somehow, and that ignited something in there.
It looked like he was cleaning something. He had like a white glove on his hand, and like maybe it was latex, and he was rubbing something. And
well, you've heard of grain silos exploding, right?
Not really, but
so in the grain silos, there's all this dust and there's static electricity. It'll ignite it and blow up a grain silo. So you've got to be careful about making sure everything's grounded and other stuff like that inside of a grain silo, because it'll just somehow or another ignite it all. So I think it's kind of like the same concept of you can't set a steel bar on fire, but steel wool will burn. The dust and whatnot floating around in the air in there is what makes it explosive, or something like that. So,
well, that poor guy didn't have a chance when that thing went off.
He didn't know what hit him, and maybe it's better that way, but still.
Better if he took the day off.
I tell you what, if I was inside of one of my machines and it came to life, I'd rather it crush me all the way in a second than stop halfway and I'm stuck inside of this thing dying slowly, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, I think that was less than a second it took to kill him. I mean, that was like he was instantly killed in like a tenth of a second. There's no good way to die, but not knowing what hit you.
We stress safety a lot in the military. I mean, partly because I was in the aviation side, and the same safety that they used in the military, they used in the civilian side. So aviation safety is kind of universal. We kind of threw safety to the wind during combat situations where we might have to bend the rules a little bit to save people's lives. You might have to risk your life to save somebody's life. And at that point, none of us had an issue with it. But the rest of the time during training and everything, normal operations, safety was our number one thing. And then, the same thing with combat training with small arms and stuff. This stuff is, dangerous. It can kill you, blow you to pieces. You're going to exercise safety, but there's certain training exercises that you do with live fire where you are in the line of fire, or you are risking, something happening. I didn't have a problem with that because we would all brief and we would all know what's going on, and I trusted these guys. For civilians going to training, like if they're paying to go to Joe Blow, Tactical Academy, and they're not safe. I mean, they're doing live fire like what we were doing in the military. That would not be cool with me, because you're going to school with a bunch of strangers. You don't know these people. One of them could end up shooting you in the back,
The most important thing I would say is avoid combat if at all possible. I mean, if you're in the military, you're going to be in combat. But if you're a civilian, if you can avoid combat, avoid combat. Another thing he talked about in the book was, okay, you kill somebody with a knife, you try to kill somebody with a knife. If you stick it in them and you cut their carotid artery, like a very tender spot, before they bleed out, at point blank range, if the guy's a strong guy, he could just strangle you to death before he bleeds out and passes out. So avoid combat. It's dangerous if you can avoid it. I mean, it's not easy. Basically, what he tried to say in his book was, is it hard to kill a person, or is it easy to kill a person? And he said both. Like if you're trying to kill somebody else, it's hard. If somebody's trying to kill you, you could die real easy. Think about it like that.
Yeah. I'll say I would. I mean, I would say killing somebody's tiring, but yeah, to look at it from that standpoint.
Well, killing a deer is tiring for you.
No, hauling the carcass back was tiring. No, killing it was just annoying. But yeah, it's not like in the movies where you get shot once and you just fall over and you're just dead. I can't stand that in the movies. They do a shot to the torso, not a headshot or anything like that. Shot to the torso, and a person just falls over, drops their gun, and they're dead. And in real life, no, that's not the way it happens.
He also another thing he mentioned in his book is sound that he can't forget is that when someone dies and they fall to the ground, they make a unique sound that's hard to forget.
Okay.
It's basically like a big bag of water and hard things hitting the ground.
Oh, I thought you meant like sounded like they got the wind knocked out of them.
Well, that's not how he described it, but I've never killed anyone, so I wouldn't know. I just read the book. Boy, you're still in your car, or?
No, I'm getting out. I'm going into my house.
Oh, yeah, you made it. All right, good.
Yeah, all that crunching you hear is the sound of snow. I know you're not familiar with snow. You've got to go up to the mountain or the volcano to get the snow, but it's crunch here.
Yeah, it was a real sunny day. There was a pretty girl at the pool. It was like not hardly a cloud in the sky, and I got earplugs so I don't have to listen to the damn construction from the Safeway construction zone. Yeah, they were like just making so much noise, but yeah, with the earplugs it's not so bad.
Same ones you use at the range?
Yeah, they're Pelotons, those triple flanged Pelotons. So I mean, it's just not as annoying because like all the low frequency is gone. So. Anyway, so you don't agree with my Benchmade thing that I was ranting about?
What I'd have to say probably would make you upset, so I'll just keep my mouth shut.
You're allowed to disagree with me. You can have a different opinion. That's okay. I mean, it actually goes without saying that I'm always right about everything, but people disagree. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't mind if people disagree with me. But it's okay. We can talk about. I think I got my bet in between last night on Midnight Range's show on the external typing and tonight. I've got my Benchmade aggression, pent up Benchmade aggression out. So we'll leave that at that. Poor conservative says he lives in Michigan too. So
I think he might have told me that, and I just don't remember. I know there's some people that live near me and some people that live on the other side of the state that are on gun channels. So
yeah, that's another thing that I should have mentioned in the book, is that you have to be able to adapt your plans. So, and that's the whole thing that I disagreed with Dusty about when he says, I will never bug out. It's like, so let's say although this probably won't happen at his location, but if there was 50 armed men going from farm to farm, looting, stealing, killing everyone, and stealing whatever they could.
It just won't happen there. It just won't happen there.
I know.
It's the wrong place for that. You're applying urban stuff to the hicks and sticks, man.
Okay, but the point he was making is that the point of survival is surviving. So if you have to leave all your guns, all your food, and all your preps to survive, I mean, dying with all your stuff isn't a good idea. Figuring, you know.
Yeah, but
is to survive.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, he's the wrong person to ask that question to because of his situation. So.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, if I had a farm out in the middle of nowhere, I would have the same thing. Our plan, depending on what happens, is to bug in for a matter of weeks before we try to break out of here. Something could change. So.
Yeah, and there's obviously the more people you get with you, the more people means more. You know, there's safety in numbers, and so. Anyway, let's see. What else? I think I almost covered everything I wanted to talk about, believe it or not. Oklahoma Prepper made it. He's in the external. I see him typing in the external. I think I emailed you a link. Is your internet bad today in Oklahoma? I have to check the. Yeah, he's not in our panel yet. I mailed him the link, so maybe his internet's just down or barely functioning. Oh, he's on his way! Yay! Get Oklahoma Prepper, see what's happening there. Let's see. Did you see the Iron Brew story, Squib? The sugary drink jacks in Scotland?
No, I didn't.
All right, let me do another screen share of that one. So I was saying that is my favorite immigrant lady. She's this lady. She's a Muslim lady who lives in Scotland and runs a store. And so what happened was, here she is. The UK wanted to tax sugary drinks out of existence, so they passed a tax. So this company in Scotland made this thing called Iron Brew, which has originally had 8 tablespoons of sugar in it. And to avoid the tax, they cut the sugar in half. But people so she bought the old version before they stopped making it, several hundred cases, and stockpiled a bunch of them. And now she's selling them for the new version sells for 69 pence a can, and the old version with all the extra sugar is £3.99 per can. And people are driving from all over Scotland to get to her store to buy it. So that's like somebody who understands capitalism. He says, "Oh, they're going to ban it. Let's buy a bunch and sell it." You know, they try to tax it out of existence, and so she's making money hand over fist because people are driving from all over the country to go to her store.
That's exactly what I would do if they did that to Big Red.
See, and here's the so it's like, you know, the government tries to fix things. Okay, people, we have too many people with, you know, diabetes or whatever problems from drinking too many sugary drinks, so we're gonna tax it so they don't make it that way. People will pay for it 8 times as much for the drink with the extra sugar. And they will drive from, I mean, you know, that's how this is like one smart lady. I got to tell you, I'm impressed. That's my kind of immigrant. Anyway,
That's a good way to overcome the system, if you'd call it that.
So how the hell are you, Oklahoma?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
It's a beautiful day. Out by the pool today. You know, just taking it easy.
It was a nice day today here. Just a little windy. I think it was about 50 degrees, but the wind made it a lot cooler than it was.
Yeah, so sorry. Today was the only bad part today was trying to get this live stream up. It was like I couldn't even get to the page for live streaming on my YouTube channel for it's like 2 minutes before the show was scheduled to start. So I was like, what the hell is up with YouTube? Maybe.
Yeah, my fire chief brought me over some deer meat that he had processed, and
cool.
I was trying to hurry up and get my deep freeze all the junk that doesn't need to really be in there out of it, and put all my meat in there, and I ended up having probably about 50 pounds of deer sausage.
Sausage?
So I was having to get all that taken care of, and I didn't even realize I left my phone in the shed and didn't realize it was Monday till I got here.
You never know it's Monday.
I don't ever know. Yeah, I don't ever know. And I just now realized that. What is today? The 25th?
Look, I know that I know that you can use a shadow stick in the ground. It's a bushcrafting technique to tell what time it is. But I don't know how to tell you what day it is with bushcrafting. So right. There's no bushcrafting technique that'll say, "Oh, it's Monday."
I just found out my birthday's in 2 days.
Oh,
I just found that out.
How old are you going to be?
30. Let's see. I think I'll be 32.
You young whippersnapper. And you're already complaining about all your old man ailments and stuff.
Oh man, it's bad. It's bad. That's bad whenever you're this age and have that many problems.
Yeah, you sound about as bad as my dad with your back problems, because my dad has like some very similar problems to you, and so I understand how it's just doing stuff gets to be painful. But you got to keep moving, you know. So
yeah, I've actually been having a lot of problems here lately. I don't know if it's the weather or what, but if you guys, those of you that follow my channel, if you guys notice, I haven't put anything out in like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks. It's been, I think the last thing I put out was something about my chainsaw maybe, but I haven't even, you know, it's been so horrible. I can't even. I've got things to do. I'm behind on a lot of stuff, and I just used up through the last bit of firewood that I had processed into the wood stove, and I haven't even been able to get to processing anymore. So
you're gonna have to go out do some wood chopping.
Yeah, probably tonight, because it's only supposed to be 45 is what the weather says, but
you're gonna do it at night?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Yeah, the low's 44 tonight, so we're already at our low. It's 45 right now.
Well, I know, but I mean, there's no light when the sun is down.
I've got a bunch of solar lights outside.
Oh, well, don't you have to like hike somewhere into the woods to get your wood?
No, I've got a pile of cut up wood out here. I just got to get out there and split it, and it's just been one of them days where I haven't been able to do anything. I mean, hell, it's been one of them months.
On
And
account of
then
what?
my back.
Oh, the back problems.
I
I
haven't.
understand. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I I've got to go tomorrow. My fire chief just told me a little bit ago when he brought that deer meat. He said that we're gonna go work on the truck tomorrow. So I said, all right, we'll see how that goes. So we've got an old 5-ton military 5-ton that we're trying to plumb out and get put in
What?
service.
How old a year was it?
I don't even know. I'll look at it when we get there.
That might
The only
make a
thing
cool video. That might make a cool
yeah,
video.
I've actually got another channel that I'm working on, um, called, I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Wildland Firefighting. It's going to be just firefighting stuff and how to do stuff and some fire videos if we ever get a fire and stuff like that. But
You don't have one, you can always start one for practice.
yeah, yeah. The only video I have on there is of a controlled burn that we did, and it really surprised the heck out of me because that day I think the 1 hour dead fuel moisture for that day was 15%, and it had rained at my house about 2 inches, and 5 miles away at my station there was no rain, and the fuels were burning, which surprised the crap out of me. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try to get. I've got another video made up. Actually, I don't know if I have it posted or not, but I got another video that I gotta get put on there if it's not on there, and then like I said, we're gonna plumb up that 5-ton, and want to try to do. I'm glad you reminded me because I got to take my tripod and everything, so we can get it recorded. So, I mean, because that's some interesting stuff on plumbing up a truck, a fire truck, uh, especially with it being, I think, an aluminum tank. So it's really going to be uh, very interesting to work on.
Yeah, well, so yeah, that would be interesting. I haven't made any. I've been doing more live streams and videos myself, and I may have hit upon a stroke of luck because the guy that runs the local gun shop he started a YouTube channel finally.
Oh yeah,
but he said maybe I could come out to his dad's ranch with him, and he's got a GoPro 7, and that's like it's a big ranch, and I could do some shooting out there. And he's got his channel is Wesley's World, and he's got some videos of him. He has an excavation business, so he's got this. It looks like a big scorpion's tail on the end. It's like some kind of claw that he does ripping through the ground with, and so because he's making more money at his excavation business right now, I think, than at the gun shop is, but.
yeah,
But I mean, he's doing okay at both of them. He's making money, but the gun shop's only open because he said well, I'm not going to say what he said he's netting, but it's making money, and he's only open 3 days a week. So
that's not bad at all.
And but obviously running a bit, I think he's trying to find a buyer for his business because we're running two businesses. Running one business is like a ball and a chain, and around your foot, no matter where you go, it's with you. And if running two businesses, that's like having a ball and chain around each foot and both your arms. So
yeah. Trust me, I know. I've done it before, and and to be honest with you, I don't think I wouldn't say that being a YouTube creator is any different because as far I don't know if any of you guys feel the same or think the same way, but everything you do is like, man, this could be a good video, and you're just constantly thinking of. It's just
that's. I think I've fallen into the live stream trap. It's like just do a little one live stream a week, and I think when YouTube demonetized everybody just said flip it, and just do the live streams. But
yeah,
I like the live streams. You get to talk to people who have similar interests to you. And good luck finding that around Hawaii. I mean, this is like a deep blue state.
Man.
I mean,
right.
So Finding, gun guys, pro-gun people in Hawaii. I mean, there aren't a lot of them. And so it's easier to find them on the internet. And you get to talk to people with similar interests to you. And so, yeah, if I could get out and get my hands on his GoPro 7 and do some range videos, that'd be fun. I'm going to see if I can come up with some good shit hits the fan drills that I was talking about. I mean, I'm not going to go camping for 10 days and then do a 20-mile hike and then go shooting. See how accurate. I mean, I have my limits. I'll do a jammed rifle drills where I have to jump for cover and switch to a secondary weapon. But somebody made a noise.
It was my dog. I don't know what she's doing.
I thought you had a cat.
I got I have if there's an animal and it's native to Oklahoma, it's here.
The cat. There's this feral cat by the pool that the manager feeds and I feed on Sundays. And what's interesting is this Sunday there's this other gray cat that is kind of trying to expand his area and it's like an alpha cat and he's like stalking the gray cat is stalking the orange cat and he was like out there this Sunday and he was like looking around for where the he was in attack mode, predator mode, trying to find the other cat who I think has found some hiding place because he knows the gray cat is looking for him. So he's like the orange cat has found deep cover. He just comes out like once or twice a day to see if somebody's around the pool who put some food in the dish for him, and then he disappears into his hiding place after that for the rest of the day. I think
it's about that season because I'm having to put some Vicks on the back of my female cat's neck because when my male cat comes in, he tries to.
Do the dirty. All right.
Yeah.
Cats are cats. They're just being cats, I mean.
Yeah, they are, but I don't need any more. I got the wiener dog, the Australian Shepherd, and then I got 4 cats, 2 of which should have been gone a long time ago.
4 cats?
Yeah.
It's a gaggle of cats.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like I said, 2 of them should have been gone a long time ago because somebody, when they were ready to be weaned and make it on their own, I gave all of them away. And then one of them, the lady said, "Well, I don't have anything to take care of her right now with." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I've got plenty of cat food and my cats are trained. They go outside and I don't have a litter box. They're trained to where they go outside."
I dated when I was back in California this animal trainer once, and she was like this blonde girl named Sylvia, and she had her cat trained to use the toilet.
That is awesome.
I know, but it was like she was trying to train me.
What the
That's her. Not to use the toilet, but I could tell. She's trying to use her animal training techniques on me, and I was like,
"Oh man, that's not awkward at all."
I don't know, but it was weird. Anyway,
it's like dating a school teacher. "Did you finish your juice box?" "Yes, ma'am." "Yes, dear." "It's Miss Dear to you." "Yes, Miss Dear."
All right. So did you see the industrial accident video in Oklahoma?
No, I didn't.
All right. I'll sync it up one more time just because you have to see this industrial accident. It's in a pharmaceutical plant in China. Yeah. Get it queued up one more time. And hit the screen share button. Okay, can you see this? Can you see this picture?
Yeah.
All right, so watch the guy. Well, both of them have blue helmets, but watch the blue helmet. Here we go. He's working on whatever that machine is there.
Oh, what the? Where'd he go?
Well, you see him falling down in pieces.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
Your guess is as good as mine. What you see is what you get. This was May 3rd, 2018. In China. So you can see his blue helmet hit the ground there, and those look like pieces of him or his clothes falling to the ground.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Makes for a good OSHA compliancy video.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I thought, why did Squibb show this to all the other workers at his plant? And maybe they'll show up sober for at least a week.
Yeah, right. Huh.
Chinese industrial accident, Yangtze pharmaceutical industry personnel didn't follow safety procedures. Died immediately from blast. All right. Well, I think I'm done playing that gruesome scene for the 10th time.
I was thinking that something might have fell or something, but dang, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it was over quick. So, I think Oklahoma's got some open carry, constitutional carry thing up in this legislature or something.
Yeah, like I said before, it's about the second or third time it's come up before the state, and there's a lot of people voting against it, but not really a vote. It's just went before the governor's office, and they, I think it was approved. I don't know if it's completely approved or if it's just still in the preliminary approvals before it gets approved.
Well, how could it go to the governor's office if it didn't already pass the House and legislature?
I don't know how politics works, to be honest. But from what I understand, it did pass. I guess it did pass something. I don't know if it's completely passed or if it's still in those preliminary stages where several different people have to pass certain things before it can be completely in effect. And I know that probably doesn't make sense to anybody because y'all probably know. I mean, obviously y'all know more about politics than I do, but I just
right.
I mean, it's been shot down several times, and it's just one of them things where they're gonna keep putting it in until it passes. So somebody's just gonna give up fighting over it and let it go. So, but yeah, it doesn't matter to me really. It makes it easier to see who the good guys are. But at the same time, I personally disagree with open carry, simply for the fact that, for example, if I'm in town and I go to the store and I've got my pistol on my hip, then that's one thing. But if I go out of town or go to Walmart or something and I've got it concealed, that's totally different because
Well, I
always
think
expect the unexpected. Especially
what I think that people, a lot of gun channels people, try to get across is that what we don't want is the government telling us what we can and can't do.
Right.
That's not their job. They're supposed to be the servant.
I understand that.
That's what gun control is.
But to me, if they're gonna even consider putting this in, they need to look at all the possibilities. Okay. We have a constitutional right to be able to carry our firearms anywhere we want and however we want. And to me, open carry is like for example, if somebody's gonna go and rob a convenience store, and you're standing there in line with your soda or in bag of chips and getting
Sugary
ready to
soda.
pay, right? That's not overly taxed. If you're standing in line getting ready to pay, and somebody walks in with a gun out, and I mean, because I'm sure you've seen several convenience store robberies where they walk in with their gun out.
I like Fast Times. I like the Fast Times at Ridgemont High robbery at the end of the movie where the stoner guy comes out and says, "Hey, dude," and then it causes the robber to look away, and then the clerk jumps across the counter and beats the crap out of the robber when he's looking in the wrong direction.
Wow. I thought that I didn't realize I haven't seen that movie in like years since I was a kid, but I don't think I remember that part. But that was always my sneaky strategy.
Use YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Have the surfer guy come out from the bathroom and go, "Hey, dude."
But no, like I was saying, if you know how you've seen surveillance videos of convenience stores being robbed. They walk in the door with that gun stretched out, their arm stretched out with that gun, and points it right at the clerk and is like, "Hey, give me all the money." And if somebody, if that was to happen, and you're standing in line, and you got your pistol on your hip open, and he looks over and sees that pistol, who's the first one that's going to get, taken out?
Well, let's talk a more current something that actually happened, and you're giving us a hypothetical situation. The problem with trying to say one kind, either open carry is right or concealed carry is better, or one is okay and one's not, is that in Florida there was a famous case recently that the Supreme Court didn't want to hear it, but that basically there was a black guy walking down the street with a gun and in his holster, and all the shopkeepers panicked and called the police. There's a black guy with a gun. There's a black guy. Guess what? He had a fucking concealed carry permit, and what happened was it was like his first week concealed carry, and the shirt that he had wasn't covering up the gun. So de facto, because the shirt was too small, he was open carrying.
Yeah.
And open carrying was supposed to be banned, but concealed carrying is fine. And he had a permit, but he got felony stopped, like 5 or 4 cars. And there's a video of it on YouTube. The guy gets, basically because he was black, and they at gunpoint, tell him to get on the ground, keep his hands away from his gun, get on the ground. And he cooperated. And he never did anything wrong except wearing the wrong shirt. So Florida Carry gave him a lawyer to defend him, because the Rainbow Coalition wasn't going to defend him, the NAACP wasn't going to defend him because it was a gun rights case. But even though he was a black guy, so they wouldn't defend.
Well, see.
It was the Second Amendment organization that paid for the lawyer to defend him, and when they won the case, and the judge says, "Okay, pay $20 for court fees and you can go," and then Bloomberg came in and objected and appealed the ruling of the case because that would have meant de facto open carry in Florida. If they can't arrest somebody, and then that got appealed, that decision got overturned, and the Supreme Court didn't want to hear it when it was split court. Wow,
and that's a perfect example. A lot of people think that open carry, that this whole thing that we're going through with the open carry is so that we can proudly wear a gun on our hips. That open carry law that they're trying to pass is for that reason right there. It's not so that we can all, proudly redneck our guns on our hips. It's to protect for stuff like that, in case somebody's jacket comes open and somebody sees the gun, oh, he's got a gun, everybody run. and stuff like that. And a lot of people are taking it, which, you know, it's, I don't want to say they're taking it wrong, because I mean they are passing an open carry law, but they're not taking it for what it's so it's
there?
just it's kind of, can you hear me?
Yeah, you dropped out for a second, so
Oh, sorry.
I lost your last sentence is all.
They're not taking it for what it's worth. You know, they're just taking it for what they can get out of it instead of taking it for face value. You know, they're trying to take a 69-cent soda and sell it for $3.99. You know, I mean, for the lack of better words, I mean, if that helps you understand what I'm saying, you know, they're trying to take something that was designed to actually protect the concealed carry, in case, you know, a lady at the convenience store opens her purse and somebody sees a gun. Oh my God, he's got a gun. She's got a gun. Call the police. You know, now it's not a matter of, you know, it's in her purse. She showed it.
It's like, well, that's not brandishing a gun, opening your purse. There happens to be one in there somewhere. That's not brandishing or anything.
Right.
It's the whole concept that people's conceptions of guns, like what police are not trained correctly. Basically, if the police are like in any situation and they see a gun and they yell gun and then they draw their weapons and start shooting, that's
right.
just bad police training. You know?
It is, you know, but it's not, I don't know. When it was first introduced, it was designed for that reason, and people were taking it, oh, well, we're going to open carry, and that's fine. The law covers that, but it's actually designed to prevent, you know, that exact thing from happening, you know, on a regular basis, where somebody, you know, somebody's shirt is too small and their gun is showing. You know, it's just, and I think printing, I think, is also falls under open carry in Oklahoma. So if you're wearing, you know, tight jeans and you got a little small pocket pistol in your back pocket, you know, and it's showing, you know, somebody can see it. It's obviously being printing. Then, you know, it helps protect that as well.
Yeah, people shouldn't get shot or felony stopped because they're printing. I mean, you know,
right? And it's just, it's hard to explain. It's just a clusterfuck.
It's just that everything people have learned in the entire society is wrong. Right. I mean, that's why I love going to Arizona. I could just carry a pistol, and it didn't matter whether it printed or didn't, because it's legal either way. And the state, I mean, it should be legal everywhere. And technically, if you follow, I mean, the state laws are that infringing our Second Amendment rights they aren't laws. They're just infringements masquerading as laws by legislators that are trampling over everyone's rights. And for no good reason. So anyway, I'm preaching to the choir, so I'll just shut up.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I have my own personal beliefs about open carry, and, you know, I'd rather, you know, conceal carry personally, but that's just me. You know, everybody has the right to whatever, but, you know, I just look at it from a hypothetical situation. You know, if you know, you're in a situation where you have to end up using your firearm, for example, like I said, if somebody's holding up a convenience store and they see your gun, you know, is it going to be enough to deter them, or are they going to really go through with it and go for you first? You know, so it's one of those things where
I wouldn't wait to find out what he's going to do. I'd just I'd do what I had to do. I'd duck for cover and pull my weapon at the same time. I mean, first, you know, and then if I had to defend myself, I would. You know, I wouldn't shoot somebody because he wanted to steal money from somebody else. But if he looks like he's going to kill somebody, then I'd stop him.
Right.
You know. or if he tried to kill me, if he pointed his weapon at me, then I'd start trying to place shots in the proper position to end the threat. But I guess you can't avoid life. Life happens, and there's bad people in life that are going to do bad things, and you can either choose to be a sheep and hope a wolf doesn't come along,
Right.
or just exercise your right to self-defense. It's up to you. It's a free country, supposed to be, I guess, but some states try and just don't recognize that, and it's really going to be their problem. But you have to remember, basically, all those things are supposed to be for self-defense only, and so sometimes you get mad. Sometimes I get mad at other people, and I have to remind myself, self-defense only. Don't slice and dice them, or don't just start dislocating people's joints because you don't like them. Even no matter how much it may be temporarily appealing to do such a thing, just save it for self-defense.
Yeah.
You'd probably be a lot better off because you won't have to deal with the post-traumatic effects of violence, either committing it or being on the receiving or dishing it out and
right
side of it.
There's a lot of legalities that will follow after that, and I don't want to be a part of.
And if there's no rule of law at the moment, there's going to be post-traumatic stress if you have to kill somebody, then you're not going to forget it. You're going to be changed.
Right.
So it's not something, you want to ever have to do. But, shit happens. The world is what it is. And people do kill each other. Happens every day.
Unfortunately.
So far, not me.
I'm still here.
Yeah. Okay. So are you working on any other preps besides your firewood?
Just not really, because like I said, have been having a lot of problems with my back.
Okay.
Just whatever I can just the occasional something from Walmart or Amazon or something that would go what I feel would go in my bug out bag. The only thing the only thing big that I've got going on right now is I'm waiting, and it has nothing to do with prep. It just kind of sets it back a little bit, but it is much needed. I've got a traditional fire helmet, and it has no shield or a front. That big leather piece with the numbers and your name and all that stuff on it, and that thing is looking hideous without a front, so I had to order one. So that sent me back a little bit.
You don't get a free helmet when you volunteer for the volunteer fire department?
You do. You get gear set up, but I have my own traditional helmet. Everybody else has modern helmets. I'm not a big fan of the modern helmet. I actually have a modern helmet too, but I like the traditional, and Chief said, if you got your own gear, use it. So I've got my gear bag right here. It's full of bunker gear, wildland gear, and everything I need, to go out on fire as far as PPE. But like I said, a friend of mine a few years ago gave me his old traditional helmet. It's a Cairns 1010, and he passed away from cancer. He had terminal cancer, later found out and passed away. So it's my helmet, and it's got a lot of sentimental value. So I actually use it actively on my fire department, and I prefer the look of a traditional compared to a modern. And they're trying to even more modernize fire helmets here in the U.S. Cairns Cairns and Brothers just put out another one. I think it's called the XF1 or the FX1. I can't remember, but it is a European style helmet, and I learned one thing about this country the other day. I realized something about this country. We are a traditional country. We try to stay traditional. We try to keep everything as traditional as possible. And fire service is one of the biggest things when it comes to tradition. A lot of departments, as you guys know, New York and Chicago and Baltimore, they all use traditional helmets. Um, and it's the big, gaudy ones, the black helmets. Most of them are leather with a big shield on front and stuff. But, most smaller, and they're more expensive too. I think compared to a modern, I think you can get a modern for like $200 or $300. My traditional is about closer to about 500, and a leather is top of the line, and those things to run about $1,000. But
Wow.
yeah. So smaller departments and smaller towns and volunteer companies mostly use modern style helmets, which is a lot of people call them lemon heads. They're those yellow plain helmets, and
you should do a video on fire helmets, because I didn't know anything about all this until you started talking about it.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I can, because I know some preppers actually have their own fire gear, firefighting equipment in case their house catches on fire, and
it's a fire extinguisher, pretty much. That's it.
Yeah, I go beyond that. I'm actually going to build my own my own little skid unit. In fact, my sister's boyfriend, he's from the Bronx, and he doesn't know any, like, when he thinks about firefighting, he thinks about engines, ladders, squads, rescues, all this stuff. And I told him, I said, come out. I took him to the station yesterday, and I was like, this is what small town America refers to as firefighting. It's just a pickup truck with a tank, a pump, and water hose in the back. That's pretty much all it is.
Yeah, beats the bucket brigade, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of history behind the bucket brigade itself. I mean, there's a lot of history behind everything in firefighting, and it's really interesting.
Well, you know what? I'm going to slightly switch the subject. My non-traditional signaling device, I'll call it a bushcraft device. I've been thinking about getting one. And being Jewish, I'm thinking about getting a ram's horn, a shofar.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be really cool as like a bushcrafting signal device.
Yeah. That's actually pretty interesting, because I've actually been looking at the history of those and how they, all that stuff. So
yeah,
I never thought about that.
I saw somebody makes them in Israel, polished ram horns, and sells them on Amazon, so I could get one. It's just a question of when the next time I feel like spending money on Amazon, like which is lately it's been like once a week, and it's like I've been trying to cut back. So
yeah,
when I basically add stuff to my wish list, that's in there now, and that and some tar.
I've got about 300 things in my wish list.
300 things on Amazon wish list. Oh, you ought to share that. You ought to share that on the. You ought to just punch up that and screen share that what's on your wish list.
Oh man, there's everything. So much random stuff. Anything from electronics and gadgets to survival to firefighting gear to just stuff I need around the house. I mean, it's just completely random. I need to go through there and clean it out of things that I'm actually going to get and things I'm not.
Yeah, there's some things that are on my list that I'm not going to get, but I don't have stuff that you have. 300. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just packed full of stuff. I actually have 5 or 6 different lists.
I never figured out how to organize them. I just hit the add to list, and I don't even know which list I'm adding things onto. But if they send you emails that based on what you click on, saying, "Oh, do you still want one of these?" It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, don't stop asking me that because I might spend money that I don't want to
Right.
spend.
The reason they're in my list is mainly so that I can get an alert. Hey, there's a price change in one of your items in the list, and I look and it's like $10 cheaper. Okay, bye. It's ordered. It'll be here next week.
Well, I don't
Speaking
think
of Amazon,
go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Speaking of Amazon, did you hear about that 767 that went down in Houston the other day?
Yeah, it crashed into the ocean or some kind of mud flat or something.
Yeah, it was actually technically not in the ocean, but it
Was
was
it?
a
It was
it was
Amazon plane or a FedEx
it was
plane
an it
or
was an Amazon cargo plane. It was a 767 that was approaching a storm, and they lost contact, and it went down in
the first
a.
thing you think is isn't like, gee, I hope nobody died. The first thing you think is, I hope none of my packages were on that
I
thing.
know, you know, it's very unfortunate, but the pilot, the entire crew, I think 6 on board, I think they perished because there was just bits of plane all over that little area, and it's like an Everglade kind of area. It's like a glade,
So there's
a
going to be
swampy area.
There's going to be an investigation on what happened.
Yeah, uh, because there's actually a video on YouTube uh, about from I think VAS. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. I can. Oh yeah, I can. VAS Aviation has a um, has the audio recorded along with the flight radar and all that stuff on it, and it's pretty interesting to watch. And there's a lot of eh, and I don't mean it's pretty interesting to watch from a sick point of view. The timeline of everything and the radio traffic is all very interesting to listen to because um, there was the plane descended rapidly at about 3,000 feet per minute, I think, which is almost nose down. It's a very rapid descent, um, and
Three
there was
thousand feet a
no.
minute.
I think so. Um, Let me see if I can.
I think at that rate, you would be like floating in the air while the plane was going down,
Yeah. Uh,
assuming you weren't seat belted down.
yeah. The channel is VAS Aviation, all one word, VAS Aviation, and it's Atlas Air Boeing 767 crashes near Houston, and there is no mayday, there is no radio traffic at all. So, judging from my knowledge, and I don't have a lot of knowledge about aircraft, especially not fixed wing. I have more knowledge on rotorcrafts than fixed wing. But judging by what little knowledge I have of aircraft, is that I would assume there was some type of rapid decomp that occurred, causing everyone to pretty much pass out, and the plane uh, pretty much fell from the sky. So
That sounds brutally awful.
yeah, so first I got to determine you know, they're going to pull the black boxes, of course, and see what the deal was. And once they figure out, if it was a rapid decomp, then they've got to go in and figure out why it happened, how it happened, and what to do to keep it from happening again. So um, it was a pretty rough deal, and I was just watching another thing related to Amazon. Uh, I was just watching the other day where Amazon is actually starting their own deliveries, and Prime Air, which is this the company that this thing is based of.
Your mic just started making all kinds of weird noises.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, okay. I think they said they had like something around 50 something aircrafts for prime delivery alone, and I'm pretty sure that's going to put a damper on their keeping everything in house rather than using UPS or FedEx and stuff like that. But
well, they're going to need more than 50 aircraft. I mean, that's a
oh
huge...
yeah, this is of course this is a whole preliminary. This is like their early trial stuff, kind of like they did with the drones a few years ago that kind of failed.
Well, when they start delivering dime bags of marijuana to medical patients with cards for it with drones, then I think that might make it work. But I don't know.
Right.
Just for the cool factor.
Right.
I mean, if I was a teenager, that's what I would do. It's like, oh yeah, let's call Amazon and order up like, a couple 9 bags and a pizza and have it all delivered by drone.
Yeah.
But I'm not a teenager anymore, so but I could see the bent appeal in that. So yeah, I don't know what else. Squib hasn't said anything since he's got home, so maybe his wife is mad at him, or his dog Sig is like taking up his time or something.
No, I've just been listening to you guys.
Okay.
I was gonna say if your wife was mad at you, join the club. I don't know what I did, but apparently I'm in the doghouse.
We kind of have a rule about the doghouse. It's not a long-term thing because life's too short. So
right.
Yeah, I've had a few like that just hold on to stuff and keep bringing it back up. And with this one, I said no, I ain't doing that no more. So yeah, and it's not to say that she don't ever end up in a doghouse with me, but it doesn't last very long. I guess love conquers all. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta. Life's too short. You gotta forgive and forget and press forward.
Yeah, because I mean, look, the two of us, we both know we got in each other's nerves as much as. I mean, it's not like it's just a one-sided thing. Some
Right.
relationships, she thinks it's a one-sided thing, but my wife knows that she gets under my skin just like I get under hers, and we don't hide it, we don't lie about it, and it's like it's not intentional, but it's just like deal with it, okay?
You get used to each other over time, I guess, is how it works.
Yeah, kind of. Well, we both kind of have an attitude. If you don't like it, there's a damn door, and we both feel that way. And and it's just kind of like this is who I am. If you don't like it, what are you doing here? But I know for some couples that would be a deal breaker and all that. And it's just like, hey, man, whatever.
Yeah, it's a work. It's always it's a full-time job. Relationships are a full-time job. You got it's never one-sided. Well, for the most part. But trust me, I'm not speaking for myself.
This is the love hour portion of the Lock and Load show.
Yeah. Relationship advice with the Lock and Load squad.
Oh, no. I won't be the person giving out advice.
I like your advice the best.
Oh, me?
Stay a bachelor.
Stay single. Yeah, take my advice. Stay single.
You don't like relationship problems?
Yeah, nobody tells you to clean up your room, or
nobody tells you how many guns you can't buy.
Nobody tells you to stop drinking, stop gambling, and don't get relationship advice from me. I'm the wrong person. But so this, I think we covered. I can't believe I'm done ranting about Benchmade for tonight. So, oh, I hear a dog barking.
Yeah, that's there.
So, is he trained to bark if there's a deer nearby?
He's not trained to. He just does it, and it's annoying. I'm watching the camera, so I don't see anybody coming up, and the motion alarm and the motion lights haven't been triggered. So he's probably barking at a possum or a raccoon somewhere in the bushes.
Oh, that was, speaking of watching your perimeters. One thing that happened in the book that I was reviewing last week, and I talked about a little bit on tonight's show, was he was saying that one of the dangers that he had to deal with in Bosnia was snipers. And what would happen is, I mean, first of all, somebody might just shoot somebody just to test out their new rifle. Yeah. And
Oh, wow.
I know that's how, when you're in a war zone, I mean, I guess that's how things got. And so what a sniper would do is, like you've probably seen in a movie, is he'd shoot one passerby in the leg and wait for somebody else to come and try and help him, and then he'd shoot that person in the leg and then wait for like a third person to come and help the other two, and then he'd shoot all three and then wait for them to expire and a safe moment to loot their bodies. And
Yeah.
You're talking about a really terrible war zone, so I would say if I was in that kind of a war zone, I would just if I saw a sniper shooting, I wouldn't see the sniper. If I saw like three people who had just been shot, I would just wait for the sniper to come and try and loot the bodies later and take out the snipers.
Right.
Play the sniper's own game. Just wait for him. Okay, he shot three people. He's going to loot the bodies eventually. And so you just wait for him to come out, however many hours he waits. But boy, yeah, some of the things that in a war zone like that, it's like it's a good reason to not want to be in a war. I think that's one thing he said. He was talking about his friends that he knew that were in the military, is that you volunteer to be in the military, and maybe Squibb could tell me something about this, but at some point they all realized, wait a minute, all these people are trying to kill me. The enemy, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like in the movies. So I think the words he used was, it's that feeling that they're coming to get me feeling.
Right.
And he did talk about how terror gets used as a tool. Like there would be some particular group of a military group or paramilitary group that had a reputation of never taking prisoners and doing like collecting people's ears before they died, so that would just cause people to either run away or try and surrender in spite of the fact that they had a reputation for never taking prisoners. So it just causes people to panic and make bad decisions. So that's how people use terror in a war zone. And so there's a section about that in the book. It's an interesting read if you got $20 to blow on a book. Get his take on things. It just tries to push you out of your comfortable plan on that you think you have on how to deal with the shit hits the fan scenario. That's all it does, really. And he shares some of his stories. It's interesting. I thought it was a worthwhile read. It's in his own words. So like on the excerpts that I read, you can tell it wasn't all proper English because it's not his first language. And they didn't want to edit it for grammar. They just that's the way he talks. So that's what they wrote down. So, but Bosnia isn't America, so hopefully it never gets that bad over here. But wow, things are getting crazy in Venezuela.
Yeah, I saw that. People are just starting to off people, even more than normal.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to play some of the riot. I could play some video that I found of the riots in Venezuela and say, oh, look, all these people are rioting because a Benchmade started chopping up guns. Why are they? But obviously nobody rioted so far about Benchmade. They're just pissed on the internet, I guess. So they're venting. They're, because Benchmade became a symbol of gun control. So anyway, when you just think, I think the whole purpose of what I try and do on my channel is I just want people to stop and think where their freedom truly lies. Wherein does your freedom truly lie for you? And you have to figure that out for yourself. I don't think it's within the government. It's not the Supreme Court. I mean, I'll follow all the Supreme Court and appellate cases and stuff. But it's really within the people. It's within yourself. And there's a world out there, and we got to deal with it. So
right.
But if you have to stop and think where your freedom truly lies, or you will never be free, just from all the people that are trying to manipulate everything. Speaking of manipulation, the U.S. Mint has run out of the silver. Apparently, they've stopped filling orders for. And I just got an email for them today but for 2018 and 2019 Silver Eagles, they're done.
Really?
Yeah. And that's illegal. They're supposed to. They're required to meet the demand. And they said they're done. Although I did get a message from them today for the expensive proof version from the West Point Mint that makes the proofs with the little W strike on it for Silver Eagles. But the regular Silver Eagles, they're not filling any more orders, and so that's like, I can't wait for Deutsche Bank to crash and end this whole fucking manipulation thing one of these days, especially for silver. But I think there's another Italian bank that's going to crash first and then take out. There's this huge Italian bank. I forget what it begins with a C, Craigia or something. I don't know. But a lot of the banks in France bailed this Italian bank out once already, and so if this bank goes down permanently, then all the French banks are going to go down, and then maybe Deutsche Bank will finally go down. I don't know. But Europe is going to be a problem. Just the banks in Europe is going to be a problem going forward. But yeah, the U.S. Mint's out of Silver Eagles. So, but boy, they wanted for a West Point Mint a proof. A Silver Eagle, they wanted $55. I got an email today from the U.S. Mint, and I bet
they're going to want a lot more than $55 after the next few years. Well,
yeah, I'd be happy with just being able to buy a few more Silver Eagles to add, put me over the 300 ounces silver mark. I think I'm at 290, 298 or something right now. But yeah, I think the Silver Eagle is the most popular coin in the world. So, and they're required by law to meet the demand. And I think J.P. Morgan stopped buying them last year. They used to buy most of them. So, but I think the U.S. Mint through J.P. Morgan is the biggest short holder in the world of the biggest naked short position of silver. But one of these days we'll have real price discovery, real markets, and manipulation will end, but I don't know when that'll be.
Maybe in the next 50 years.
I don't know. I don't think the certain system can keep going the way it is, but cryptocurrencies had a wild weekend. It was like, and you could tell felt like manipulation, because like Saturday, there's a lot of people ranting and raving because like how great cryptos were, because like Ethereum was up 17% in like 2 hours, and a lot of the cryptocurrencies were up like 20% or 10%, in just an hour or two, and then like after like 4 or 5 hours, everything crashed down 25%, from the high, and it was like a straight line down. Everything crashed all at once. So and the thing was that looking at my Genesis mining payout, if the price goes up, I'm supposed to get. I get paid out in Dash every day, and I'm supposed to get paid out in Dash every day, and so the prices went up. I would get more money if the price of Bitcoin goes up relative to the price of Dash from my Bitcoin mining contracts. But before the payout, it crashed. So if it would have stayed up like another 5 hours before it crashed, then I would have got like double the amount of Dash that I got instead of money. But so it's like the mining company, somebody's manipulating all these prices, and I know it. So I just have to wait for the manipulation to end. But boy, it was like when it goes like straight up and then straight down, like a few hours, it's like somebody's trying to, it feels like somebody's trying to shake out any weak hands that are left, because they want to drive it down and buy as much as possible.
Speaking of stock,
for as cheap as possible. Go ahead.
Speaking of stock, have you been, I know it's not really much to brag about, but have you been watching Sears holding stocks? Which, like I said,
what?
Sears,
Sears. I haven't been watching the stock. Basically that was the owner had to save it from bankruptcy. He bailed out the company. It was like in bankruptcy court, and the judge let him buy it for cheap or something.
Yeah, their stock really has never been high anyway. They're maxed since, well, this is showing 2018, so I don't know what's up with that. But their max that I'm seeing from May of 2018 looks like just under, let's see, what was it? $3.49 a share. And then of course here recently, since December, it dropped down to as low as 17 cents a share, and looks like lower in some places. And my buddy was telling me he wanted to buy $1,000 in Sears stock. Well,
why would you do such an idiotic thing?
Why? Well,
the company has no future whatsoever.
Hang on. Let me explain. I think he was wanting to buy it for like 20 cents a share when it was about 20 cents a share. And
didn't you just say it was 17 cents a share a second ago?
Well, it jumped up to it jumped up to in this month, earlier this month, it jumped up to, let's see, $2.71 a share.
Well, these price moves are based on what a bankruptcy court judge says he will allow. So it's not even arbitrage. It's gambling on what some judge might say and hoping it'll make you some money. That's not investing. That's just, gambling. Go to Las Vegas if you want to gamble. Have some fun.
Right. Well, if let's see, even at 50 cents a share, 50 cents a share, you wake up one day and you're watching it jumps up to $2.71 a share, then I think he said that when even whenever it was up to $1 or something a share, he said he would have turned $1,000 into 10,000 just in that short amount of time.
When you're dealing with penny stocks that are in bankruptcy court, and it's just, there's so many things that can go wrong.
Right.
I mean, I could tell you stories how I lost lots of money in the stock market that would stand your hair on end. I mean, I have literally gone out to, I've had like open positions, went out to eat breakfast, came back, and like I was like up $15,000 when I went out to breakfast and down $20,000 when I got back from breakfast. It was like, I know.
Wow. I see what you're saying, and you know,
Don't
if I'm
go
going
out
to
for
gamble,
breakfast. And I told that story to one other professional stock market trader, and he said, "Hey, I lost like $100,000 one time because I took a crap in the bathroom when I got out."
you know, I see what you're saying. You know, if you want to play with your money like that, if you want to gamble your money, best bet's go to the casino and hope you hit a jackpot. I understand, and you're right. With stock market, you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't even know if the stock market's going to be there.
Right. I mean, you don't know if. I mean, one day you could be on top of the world, next you could be living in a box. You know.
Well, that's what happens to people in Vegas too.
Right. I mean, but yeah, but you know, it's. I'd rather put my money in a sure thing and
ain't no such thing. Buy gold.
Right. Well,
I know you can't afford it, but
you know, when I don't. For example, my girlfriend asked me, "What do you want for your Christmas?" or "What do you want for this?" or "What do you want for that?" I don't ever buy anything that I want. I don't ever, even if I, you know, and I've worked at some jobs where I made some good money, and you know, I don't have anything to show for it. You know, but my thing is as I get older, you know, you realize a lot of things, and I make sure to invest in myself. The only thing that I've really splurged on here recently that doesn't do anything for me is this fire helmet front. But you know, I take what I need and use it to my advantage. You know, for example, my chainsaw. I bought my chainsaw. It has made me money. I bought, you know, tools, stuff that's going to make you money. I bought a lawnmower, bought weed eaters, bought some lawn care equipment, you know, stuff that's going to make me money. If I get into a bind and I need to, you know, do something and I need to mow a yard, guess what? I've got the equipment to do it with. You know, I try to invest in myself, and I rarely ever, you know, everything that I buy, you know, she gets mad. Well, why do you need this? Or why do you want that? Well, you know, it's going to go, you know, it's going towards the house, or it's going towards this. There's always a bigger picture behind things that I get.
There's a plan. There's a master plan.
Yeah, there is. You know, for example, you know, anytime, you know, last year for Christmas, my family kept asking, "What do you want for Christmas?" Sheetrock and insulation. Or what do you want for your birthday? Sheetrock and insulation. You know, I don't ask for anything for my pleasure or enjoyment. I understand that, and I should, and I think everybody deserves it. But you know, without insulation and sheetrock, this house would be a cold death trap in the winter and a sauna in the summer. But you know, that's my kind of stuff. I like doing stuff like that anyway. I like, you know, building stuff. So anytime I get anything, it's something that can potentially work in my favor to make me some kind of profit or to kind of help me out in some sort of way. For example, like I said, the chainsaw. It's a great example. I love doing stuff like that. I love working outside. I love cutting, stuff down, cutting trees, cutting up wood. I love doing yard work. I don't know why. I just love it. So I get some satisfaction out of doing yard work. Plus, I'm making money at the same time. That chainsaw paid for itself day one. I fired it up, cut a bunch of firewood. Saved me a lot on heating. Turn around and cut a bunch of trees down for somebody on their property. Made a bunch of money. My wood stove plus my chainsaw paid for itself in the first, little bit of time. My wood stove paid for itself the first year. My chainsaw paid for itself in the first day. It's just I invest in myself and get things that I need to take care of things. A lot of people don't understand. For example, you buy a lot of preps. You have a lot of stuff, and but what a lot of people say, well, you're just blowing your money on that. No, you're not. You're investing in yourself. You're investing in your safety and your survival. And that is a big investment. A lot of people can't see things that way. How do you know that, you're not all of a sudden going to get a tsunami warning and, something hits the islands and nothing is there. You have no food. The water system is off. Now you've got, you're kind of screwed up tree. So now, for example, you have the ability to survive on your own without any of that stuff. So it's not necessarily.
But I'm in a place. But I'd be in a place where, because I'm in the middle of town in a condo with a lot of people who wouldn't be able to take care of themselves. So that's like my biggest problem, is that nobody else is. I'll be like the only prepared person surrounded by desperate people who don't have anything. So.
Right.
That's the other problem I have to deal with. So.
But you have everything you need to help you in a situation like that. You've got your preps, you've got your firearms, you've got your knowledge and your skill to protect yourself and to survive. A lot of people don't have that, and they fail to identify that issue. They fail to identify with that part of all this stuff. A lot of people say you're just
who's saying that? Who are these people that you mean to preppers in general? Okay.
In general, yeah, not you, not you. I mean, in general, they say that preppers, they're hoarders, they're greedy, they're this, they're that. Greedy. No, you're stocking up on food so that nobody else can have it. They can do just the same if they wanted to. If they wanted a plan, if they wanted to make life easier on themselves when stuff happens. But they instead of doing that, they want to bring everyone else down and give you a bad name. For what reason?
Well, generally, when somebody puts somebody else down, it's to make themselves feel better for some feelings of personal inadequacy that they have. So I feel like I'm not very important, so I'm going to feel better by making you feel like shit. It's kind of thing,
But you see what I'm saying, though. It's not a waste of money. It's not, you're not going out and blowing your money on this.
It's an insurance policy. I look at it like an insurance policy.
It's an investment. You're investing in yourself.
It's not an investment. I look at it like an insurance policy. I mean, I don't want to ever crash my car, but I have to have car insurance. I mean, even if I didn't have to have it legally, I'd still want to have something because if you accidentally hurt somebody else and you don't have insurance, their lawyer's going to rip you a new one and take everything that you have. So it pays to have insurance so that all that shit gets worked out by just two insurance companies and nobody winds up suing you for like a minute. So it's the same thing with prepping. You know, if something goes bad, I don't have to worry as much because I'm at least slightly prepared, as opposed to people that just are oblivious to reality in general. And I think that was part of the book, is that like you have to have the right mindset to survive. It's not just about stuff. You know, you buying something isn't going to make you safe or keep you safe. You have to have the right mindset to survive. You have to put your survival first if something goes wrong, over everything else. You know, if you have to leave your stuff to survive, you have to leave your stuff to survive. If there's like, if you're in an urban area and there's like an armed paramilitary group of like 100 guys looting every building, then guess what? You just have to get out immediately with whatever you can carry and leave most of your shit behind. Because if you don't, what good is it going to do you after you're dead? You know? And because survival has to come first. So if you have to drop a gun, because if you're surrounded by 10 guys, they drop your gun, we want your gun, and they all have you all in their sights. It's like, okay, take the fucking gun. I'll go get another one. You know, I'll find another one somehow later when there aren't 10 guns pointed at me. You know, saying give up your gun. So your survival has to come first. So it's just a lot of it is just mindset. And what appeals to me about prepping is that it's a exercise in, you know, when I like to spitball prepping scenarios, because it's a mental exercise that keeps your mind active but I look at prepping like an insurance policy.
Subconsciously, you're preparing yourself mentally for the scenario, you know. That way, if it does ever actually come into effect, you already remember, you know, you've already thought, okay, well, this just happened, and this is what I got to do, you know, and then you're not having to think on the fly, you know.
Well, you're going to have to think on the fly. But what was in the book was that when it happens, it will just hit you like a hammer. You won't be ready. And so be prepared to just be in shock for a brief moment of time. And hopefully, if you're prepared for just whatever happens, it's going to be shocking, stunning, and your mind won't work. Hopefully, it'll last that period of being stunned and in shock and awe from whatever terrible thing just happened will only last for a short period of time before you come to your senses and say, okay, what do I have to do to survive?
Right. I think that's going to do it for me.
Yeah, okay, we're going to wind this one up. I hear the chopper coming. We've got to get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Right. So thanks for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up. And if we can keep the internet working, Joseph Cooper. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. God bless. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. All right. Where's the damn button? Can never find the button. Here it is.